Estimating square root comes into play when you don't have a perfect square, like the square root of 16 or the square root of 25, where it's not a nice even whole number that is your square root. So like the square root of 12. It's not a nice pretty square, so we've got to estimate what it is. The first thing that you determine is what two perfect squares does it fall in between. So the square root of 12 falls in between the perfect square root of 9 and the perfect square root of 16. Okay? That's what it falls in between. The square root of 9 is 3 and the square root of 16 is 4. So you know that your answer lies in between 3 and 4. Now, sometimes that's all they want to know. Sometimes they want to know what two integers does it fall in between, and there's your answer, 3 and 4. But sometimes they do get a little bit more specific, and you have to estimate the exact decimal answer. So let's start with what we do know. We know that the square root of 9 is a 3 by 3 square. So here's your model for a 3 by 3 square, so the square root of 9. Well, and I'm going to take this 3 by 3 square and I'm going to turn it into a 4 by 4 square. So you see, it was a 3 by 3, and then I made it a 4 by 4. So we know that it falls in between those two. Well, what I'm going to do is, my number was 9, right? So I've got 10, 11, 12. Okay, out of the squares I added to make it a 4 by 4, I needed to color in 3 to get to 12. 9, 10, 11, 12. So my final answer will be 3, and there's 3 colored in out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3 and 3/7. Now, you know that 3 is less than is almost half of 7, but not quite. So that you know that your answer will not be 3.5. It'll be just slightly less. So it'll be 3.4 or 3.3. But that's how you estimate it. And if you want to know the exact decimal, you divide it out. So 0.42, and that will get you close enough. So your answer is 3.42. All right, so let's do another one. The square root of 24. So that falls in between the two perfect squares of square root of 16 and the square root of 25. Okay, square root of 16 is 4. The square root of 25 is 5, so we know it falls in between 4 and 5. But the square root of 24 is very, very close to 25, so it will be 4 point, and it should be something high because it's very, very close to 5. So I'm going to make my perfect square of a 4 by 4. Okay, there's my 4 by 4. Now I'm going to make it a 5 by 5. Okay, so there's my 4 by 4 into a 5 by 5. So starting with 16 because that's my 4 by 4. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So my final answer will be 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 ninths. 4 and 8 ninths. And to get the exact decimal, you would just divide 8 by 9. Last example, the square root of 75. Square root of 75 falls in between, let's see, square root of 64 and the square root of 81. So it falls in between 8 and 9. Now, do I always have to draw my square? No, you don't. Okay, we know that our answer is going to start with 8, but let's just count. I always have to have something that I'm touching when I'm counting, so I make sure I don't count wrong. So 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it's 8 and 11 over, well, how many was it? That was 11 to get to 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81. So it was 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So your answer is 8 and 11/17. That's another way to get the answer where you don't actually have to draw your pictures, but I do think it's easier to visualize with your pictures. And here is our summary. When estimating square roots, you must first determine what two integers it falls between. Then set up a fraction to get your exact square root.